Krishna and Arjuna with the chariot, good point. I mean, Krishna and Arjuna with chariot, this is one of the way by which Arjuna is depicted. Yes, some thoughts from here.
Lord Krishna was instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna.
Lord Krishna was instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That picture right in the front page of Bhagavad Gita, as if Krishna is telling to Arjuna. Very nice. Anything else, folks? Yeah, very wonderful. You are coming closer. So, Arjuna trying to hit in the eye of a bird who is in the tree, right? Everyone was saying that whom you are watching, and they are saying tree dikh raha hai, ye dikh raha hai, wo dikh raha hai. But only Arjuna was saying, I was able to see the eye of the bird. Yeah, please. Yeah, you are only one. Please go ahead. Right. Thank you. You bring me to the answer. Give a big clap. All the other answers were also correct. It was not wrong. But just to give you the context, this is a picture which definitely goes to depict that how Arjuna was a great warrior who happened to be the winner in the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. This is how the picture is made, correct? But this is not the complete picture. The complete scene is this. That means Arjuna is trying to hit the fish's eye in the pond of water, and he is going to win Draupadi by that under the divine guidance of Lord Krishna himself in that particular assembly. So the opportunity of marriage is a great event in which the best of the devotee comes out. What to speak of devotee? Certain time even outsiders are being told that looks like his fortune is not working, get him married. Now one understanding is that he will get a trigger point at family so that the wife will make sure he will work. Right? That is one understanding. But the actual understanding is when two people come together and if they are right match, a great story begins from there. And that's what we see in the life of the Pandavas. Till this point of time, they were in incognito mode because of the attempt to burn the Pandavas and Mother Kunti in the forest of, in the fort of Lakshagraha. But over here he happened to again reappear, and what a glorious reappearance. That appearance was under the divine guidance of Lord Krishna himself. He happened to win the hand of Draupadi, and that's how the entire further history of Mahabharata unfolds. Because just imagine if the story would have been that Lakshagraha happened, the 5 Pandavas went into incognito with their mother, and they remain incognito. So nothing charm of the Mahabharata would have come, right? So this opportunity of marriage is a great opportunity to bring the best out of the person. And even, aesthetically, we will find that both the bride and the bridegroom, only on that day, they look very, very best, right? That day, they dress like, something right coming from heaven and landing in the arena. Of course, these days there is a tougher competition because in every marriage event, apart from the bride and bridegroom, every other one also are these days, wearing whatever. You understand, right? How they participate in marriage these days. But nevertheless, we can understand from this event that there is a great opportunity to bring out the best in the person rather than being in an incognito mode of their own talent. Many a time when we are not having the right companionship, what the talent which we hold is merely submerged within the water and not coming up to the surface because we are too much caught up in the paralysis zone by analyzing too many things in our mind. So let's go forward. And not only us, there are many other folks who are looking for that event. Right for the marriage, the relatives are also very anxious. whom he or she is going to get married. आपने बिरादरी का है कि नहीं? Till that point of time, nobody questions much. Who are your friends? Whom you are going around? It's okay. But the moment marriage comes, everyone is active. You will find soon. How many of you have already started looking? Okay, so you must be starting that feeling, right? That everyone is becoming excited about your opportunity. And your family is seriously concerned. क्या होगा इसमें? इसको कोई मिलेगा भी कि नहीं? I mean, just to share, so I come from a city in Jharkhand, that is my native place. And upon a time, my mother had gone to a neighboring aunt, and in that place, one of the lady has come from my mother's homeland. Nanigar, my Nanigar, and she has come. And she was telling to my mother and my aunt, you know what? There is a person in this place who has passed out from IT from our own biradri, and he doesn't eat onion garlic. And he is looking for such kind of match. And my mother said, yeah, that is my son. So everyone is seriously concerned. Whom he is going to get married. And now take a small time. Okay. If you have pen and paper, very good. If you don't have, you have your mind, write it out there. Write what is your expectation of your would-be. At least your expectation of your would-be spouse. आप सब किसी से विवाह करना चाहते हैं? उसके बारे में कुछ एक दो शब्द या पंक्ति अपने मन में या पेपर में कुछ लिखिए. Okay, so I hope, and don't show to others. It's your secret. You can write anything. You can even write, I want someone rich like anything. Or you can even write, I want like Apsara, right coming, nothing less. Whatever you want to write. It's your personal book. Okay, I hope you all have done your exercise. I am not going to ask what you are going to do. It's your secret thing. And even the would-be is having great expectations. What you are writing, your would-be is also writing. And if you bring it together, you'll have to find tough that how do I really match in that mirror? Am I the same person who matches this expectation? And likewise, the other person will also feel. The other person will also feel that, oh, probably my expectation was a bit higher or whatever. So everyone has great expectation, and in the event of marriage, it actually comes up in its peak form. Because this is a matter where a new relation is going to be built for this entire family and whatever, everyone will imagine problems and many things. So a nice verse comes, this I got shared from my friend. Kanya varyate rupam mata vittam pita shrutam bandhava kullamichanti mishtan mittare jana. It says, this is for the boy, but girls can correlate in a parallel manner. A girl looks for beauty in her match. Mother wants to make sure that he is wealthy. Father looks for education. Relatives will look for good family so that they can make new acquaintances because they also have future, right? Others are looking for good meal with lot of sweets. So essentially, every different people have different expectations. When someone is going to get married, till now we all have been practicing Krishna consciousness, right? Some of us may have support from our family like anything. Beta or beti, aage badho. And some of us may also facing lot of challenges. Arey kya kar rahe hai? Abhi sadhu baba bane. Right? So all different combinations will be there. However, the marriage event is such which cannot be done in silo. Till now, we all were able to work in silos. That means we are practicing, we are facing our parents, and we are done with it. But this is an event wherein everyone will come into picture. They will have their own opinions. And then even the other side will also have their own opinions. So it's not so simple as we imagine as practicing our own. However, investing the right thought and right consciousness in this has a great scope of having a bright future for us. So let's go further. We can also learn about marriage as a great life event from our wonderful parampara. So we have, this is our Guru Parampara, wherein we have Srila Prabhupada, first the founder Acharya of ISKCON, then we have Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, then we have Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then we have Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So this is a parampara which we all have more or less in our altar, because this is where it signifies the re-advent of the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming back in this Kali Yuga. Because for a great period of time, though Mahaprabhu has established a great movement, it was almost gone in an incognito state. And only when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur happened to bring in through his writings and through the re-excavations of the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the divine guidance of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, that's where it again happened to reflourish. So we can learn from our parampara also. So how many from the parampara we have who have also undergone the Grihastha life? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Who all have said 3? Raise your hand. Who all have said 2? Who all are saying 1? Who all are saying nothing? Okay. So we have, few. In our parampara, Srila Prabhupada, we know from Leela that how he happened to pass through the Grihastha stage of his life. We also had Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who happened to first be wedded, and then when on the demise of her wife, when he was of the age of 29, when he happened to accept the Babaji Vesh. And then we have Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who even in his Grihastha stage was called as Grihastha Paramahamsa because of the great writings and the great contributions which he has done right from his very early age. But from the perspective of the life history which we have available, the great acharyas have shown how they have led their life in the wonderful manner in terms of dealing in the Grihastha life, which has been evident in more detailed form in the lives of Srila Prabhupada and in the life of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So this I somehow got the photograph of what during his Grihastha stage how they look like. So we can learn a lot from the lives of acharyas, and a lot we can also understand for our own lives. And we can also see from their lives also how in their life also how they practice their Krishna consciousness throughout their life. It's not that they in the Grihastha stage they were not a devotee and later they became a devotee, or they were a devotee but in Grihastha stage they stopped becoming a devotee. It's not like that. All of them have been devotees throughout, and they have been practicing in various situations. So far with me, all of us feel that marriage is a life event. It's a great life event.
Yes.
It brings something change. Okay, so let's go on further. So let's understand that all of us over here have got a great fortune. And that fortune is the fortune of having Krishna consciousness in our life. But let me ask you, especially those who are in this voice category, how many of you entered the college in which you were going imagining that I will wear dhoti kurta after 2 years? But let me ask the other way. How many of you ever felt that I will never wear dhoti kurta in my life? Right? You are with me? Okay, good. So most of us never ever felt that we would be practicing such a particular life of devotional service. It was never in our plans that we will do all of these things once I get into my political institution and I will meet a devotee whom I will pursue. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite para, dhai tava pache pache. I will run after you, make me a devotee. Even if you are here, has any of you great souls tried to run behind a devotee like that? Mostly not. Most likely, it is the causeless mercy of the devotee themselves who catch us. इसको तो devotee बनाना पड़ेगा. And they have a lot of plans which is going in the background, which we don't have visibility. And eventually, it is under the divine guidance of the Parampara and Srila Prabhupada that this opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness, practice pure devotional service, should come to these souls. And then after a few years we think, अभी ये क्या हुआ? I mean, अभी how I am wearing, what I am wearing, and then initially we also feel that maybe 1 year, 2 years is good. I mean, just like you have various clubs in the college, you certain time have tennis club, you have some golf club. Golf club is not so common in college, but at least tennis club, swimming club, these are very common. This is also another club. In fact, we also go as club in many of the colleges. That's how we begin with. And if you just like college is over, things will be over. But then we are told, this is a practice for lifetime. And we said, come on, this is too much. Right? When I remember, when I first came into Krishna consciousness, and the devotee came, and he happened to, His Grace Rasikas Guru happened to distribute initial books. So we were in the wing. So one wing I was staying, and another wing, those of you from voice background know Antadi Pro. So he was in the other wing. So we were like batchmates. He was in EC, I was in CS. And then there were some more, exalted souls whom you might not have met. They are in some Calcutta and other areas. So the devotee happened to tell that I chant 16 now, probably to motivate. The Prabhuji wanted to motivate that someday. So I understood, okay, he is a very great soul. So 16 round is good for him. We understood that we have to follow. So my formula was 1 round in first year, 2 round in second year, 3 round in third year, 4 round in 4th year, and for lifelong 4 rounds. Right? But the plan doesn't work. So many of our plans we have, but devotees have other plans. They have full charter. How to bring him to Sankalpa camp. Even I also take Sankalpa camp now. How to have Spurti camp. How to have 16 round. And then Sabha. And then we are stuck. Come on, Sabha. What is this? Right? So a lot of things are unplanned for us. Because it is the causeless mercy of devotees. That's how we have become devotees. And therefore, we should not feel that it's our greatness. Rather, if you recollect this word from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, 10th verse, Manda Sumanda Mattayo, Manda Bhagirahi Upasrita. In this Sumanda Mattayo is there. Which means, certain time, someone may have some inclination to practice spiritual life, but they may be misguided in this particular day and age of Kali Yuga. So, while some may land in ISKCON, who will be fortunate, there are some who will not, because the fortune might not have been present and they are misguided. But now look yourself, sometimes take your time in your devotee dress, see yourself in the mirror and think yourself, introspect well, that can you live lifelong with any kind of person? It will not work. If we imagine, or you might have your friend circle, your office circle especially, office circle, or some circle of your college days. Just imagine, can you work with any person in your college from the other gender, that means for male, female and female, male, and it will work for you lifelong? Mostly not. And for wise people, little bit more flavor. Just try to think of a person in your center whom you just cannot work with. सबके पास एक है? I have also been for some time, right? 11 years I have stayed there. So you will have some devotee whom you just cannot work with, and just transform the person into a female and you get married. What will happen? It will not work, right? So first of all, I am trying to present that understand that we have a particular goals and aspirations. We cannot work with any person who have a materialistic aspirations and work with it. Whether the person is from your family community or other community, many a time, because as I mentioned, so many factors will come in. Some may land up in marrying in family community, some may land up in marrying in devotee community, it's called devotee community. But it will not work with any kind of person. There has to be some compatibility when it comes to the aspirations. And even for devotees, as I mentioned, for those who are in voice can relate very well. For those who were not in voice, at least by now you might have found some devotee whom things don't work. Right? कोई तो ऐसी रहेगी जो कुछ बोलती है तो आपको हृदय से शरणागति आ जाता होगा। तो आप उस व्यक्ति को मेल फॉर्म में ट्रांसफॉर्म कर दीजिए। You transform that person into a male, and just imagine if you have to stay lifelong. It will not work there also. So I have to customize some jokes for both parties. So it will not work just considering that, okay, Prabhu, I am just open for anyone, or I am just open, I can just make anyone a devotee. शादी करा दो मेरा बस. You don't know my power. I am none other than the personification of acharyas. Just make me marry, and I will make my Prabhu or my good wife into a solid devotee. It doesn't work. It simply doesn't work. Because if the person's aspirations are not matching with something to do with spirituality, you just can't convert the person into a devotee. There have been many who have gone through all the various 6 sessions, camps, Sankalpa camps, and Spurti camps, Sabhas, and beyond, but still there will be some who will continue to practice Krishna consciousness and some who will not. Because if the aspirations is not relating to spiritual practice in one's life, it will not work. So therefore, we have to be careful in trying to strike the right compatibility, in trying to see who my future partner is. Just because this person may work for this person, it is not necessary that this person will work for every other person. It's not necessary. One has to take one's time to understand and talk that this is my aspiration, this is your aspirations, does it work together? So as I mentioned here, many times there may be some Sumanta Mattayo category, wherein they have some aspirations for practicing spiritual life, but somehow they couldn't get the ISKCON connect. And then you may find probably a match might work well. So just to give some more flavor over here. So when I went to, during when I was searching for my would-be, I had run from pillar to post, gone through various profiles and many things, gone through various discussions. Finally, whom I got married. So the first time when we went to meet, and thankfully, in the room which we were sitting, there was a big Krishna photograph. It was amazing. Is it Krishna or Advait? But nevertheless, I had some voice calculations. So I said, okay, chanting तो बताना पड़ेगा, right? Fooding भी बताना पड़ेगा, but Ekadashi I think we teach after 1 year, right? Because after 1 year we tell in voices that you have to follow Ekadashi, correct? 1 year we are okay, you chant, you take cookie, be happy. So I told to my would-be that, see, I practice my chanting for almost 1.5 or 2 hours every day. And of course, I don't tell this to everyone, this also will talk a little later. So, but here I felt I got a guidance from Paramatma that probably this companion will work for me lifelong. So I said that I practicing 1.5 to 2 hours of daily, chanting in my home, mantra meditation, as we say. You understand, right? Good. So those who are not even so mantra meditation is how we get into the college. So now they are able to laugh. So I'm sorry. They are able to laugh little earlier, but it's okay. So then she said, "Oh, how you feel it's different?" I said, "Oh, great. I mean, that's amazing." So then I said that since in our home, we have food offered to Krishna, and that anyway my mothers take care of, clarifying. We offer to food to Krishna, so onion garlic cannot be there. Okay. Yeah, so then my wife said that actually from class 9 I have been following Ekadashi, so would you mind if I follow Ekadashi? I said, no, it's okay. I said, it's okay, I can also participate. But that time she gave little different perception. She said, only fruits. I said, no, you can cook also if you want to. So a certain time we feel that our calculation will work better, but you have to also understand that there is Krishna who is actually arranging for us. Just like for any devotee to come in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is taking the pains to make in advance. Understand that Krishna is not impersonal when it comes to marriage. अब marriage आया तो भगवान छोड़ देंगे, उसके बाद देखेंगे after 2 years. How do you work? It's not like that. The Supreme Lord is with us and at least watching us, even though we do many messes in our life. But Supreme Lord is watching us that how to take care of this soul, and He is trying to be sincere. So let Him bring through the sincere practitioner. So we should be having an attitude of gratitude towards the devotees because they have brought us in Krishna consciousness, and it's not that one person makes us devotee, right? I mean, it's not that someone who gave us the first session, that's how we sustained in devotion. Or it's not that your current counselor is the only person who is making you remain in Krishna consciousness. There are a great team of devotees who spend so many amount of blood finally to keep us in devotional service. And there is a team of devotees. Some encouraging us at different point of time, and that's how we grow further. So we should have always our position as a devotee in terms of gratitude to those devotees who have brought us in Krishna consciousness. And we should be proud of our acharyas, that such great acharyas are there who have lived a life of what kind of caliber. And where am I? I feel that conducting a few sessions, distributing few books and distributing few things, I have become a great devotee. Just see the life of acharyas. And what to speak of when we see the glories and greatness of Lord Krishna Himself. In one sense, the devotees are greater than Lord Krishna, but even if you are in a comparative sense, you can understand that this is what we should be proud of our acharyas, of the Supreme Lord Himself, and we should not be feeling that I am a great devotee, like a Superman concept. In mirror mein dekha to, I am a great devotee, acharya. And then we see, whenever we go to see the, would be in different places, depending on which background we come. Some of us may get married in our family side and we start feeling ये सब तुच्छ लोग और मैं महाभागवत तो नहीं बोलेंगे because out of humility we'll say I am a devotee, that's all. But understand that we are a practicing devotee who have got a fortune of Krishna consciousness. It's not that our greatness. And we should relate that even the other living entities who are present are constitutionally spiritual in nature. They are also soul, right? They are soul, correct? And they are in human bodies, just like I am also in a human body. We should not imagine that now I am transcendental and all of them are very lower platform, so it will simply not work. In fact, that is the beauty of the institution of marriage, that it gives you the right perspective of what our actual advancement is. We come to know the right perspective of our advancement and we get a great opportunity to advance throughout our life continuously. So therefore, we should see this should be our approach of approaching our would-be, in the sense that they are also someone who should be having spiritual aspirations, and they also should be sharing the kind of aspirations which I may have in my personal life. And you all may have some personal aspirations, right? Ki Dhruv Maharaj ne Sida, he has taken a kingdom greater than grandfather of Brahma. So I don't want to become greater than Brahma, but I want to become greater than my grandfather. Right? Certain time that kind of aspirations may be. That my grandfather in my village has established 20 plants. 20 plants of mango. So I will establish 100 plants of mango. No problem. Talk to your person, your would-be and express that, see, 20 mangoes were planted by my grandfather. My target is 100 grandfather, 100 mango trees, and see that it works for the other person. Because who knows, even if you are from a devotee background, you might want to be a Bhajananandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And the other party, who is also a devotee, wants to take you round about the globe, just like Srila Prabhupada was traveling. And then there is a big mismatch, right? So this I am just trying to give a different kind of explanation, just to show that we have some aspirations, both material and spiritual, that should be incompatible to the people. So then comes a courtship period, a great opportunity. So I will try to go slightly smoothed up, because we also have some question answer session after that. So courtship period is a great opportunity, but it may or may not be available in the Indian context. Thankfully, in today's days, many a time the period between the engagement and marriage is a period wherein you are able to discuss, you are able to talk. But certain family backgrounds who might be slightly more traditional may not have that luxury. But if there is such a kind of opportunity, understand that this is a very great opportunity wherein one can have a respectful admiration without much of responsibility. And this is a time wherein we should be at least clarifying our daily business, because that cannot be hidden from the person who is coming so close to you. The person is going to be with you for the whole life, and what to speak of the whole life, the first day of the marriage also is there, right? And therefore some things is simply which we cannot avoid being untold to the other party. So food regulations which we follow, that means we follow the honoring of Krishna Prasadam, we follow the mantra meditation, chanting process. We should explain well. Ideally, even before the engagement, but at least clarify it well before the marriage. Even before the alliance gets fixed, these basic clarification should be there in a polite manner. And don't disclose it to everyone. ऐसा नहीं कि आप अपने बायोडाटा में you just put, if you are going through your family side, my biodata 2 घंटा 16 माला. If you want to refer more details, refer 16rounds.com. Or if you want to have Prashadam, refer this website. So that is not how we should approach. We should disclose our cards one at a time to the right person when we feel that there is a echo of the statement. So this is a great opportunity of having respectful admirations without full responsibility, and there is a chances of setting a very good ground, or you may also find that it may not work well. And it's better to call out at this time because it is not yet open to the entire world. And moreover, you haven't got into the marriage ceremony. So understand that this is a great opportunity. Now don't use it to, batter the other person like anything. Just understand to see that you both are able to strike the right note so that you can continue for lifelong. And more details on this about horoscope details also is also be shared by this Prahladnath group. So this is a great opportunity, and it can be a period which can be gold, it can be silver or bronze, depending on how we approach it. So just like in the life of, this comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 52nd chapter, there is a verse for Rukmini, wherein Rukmini is hearing the glories of Krishna from the Brahmanas, and she is feeling Sadrisham Pati. This will be my suitable husband. And in the next verse, this is the 23rd verse, in the 24th verse, Krishna is the Lord, so he knows everything, but he is also feeling that Rukmini has such wonderful qualities, so she is Sadrisham Bharam. She is my suitable wife. So this kind of mutual appreciation and admiration should come in this period of courtship period, so that it will work long for us. Now we may not have that fortune of Brahmanas extolling our glories. Like in the case of Karda Muni, the glories were told by Narad Muni to Devhuti, and Devhuti's glory was told to Karda Muni by none other than Supreme Lord Vishnu himself when he happened to show his darshan. So in our case, we may not have that full luxury. We may not have Narad Muni, we may not have Lord Vishnu directly telling, but at least we can have an opportunity to discuss and express our expectations and clarifications to some extent. The next phase which we will discuss is the onboarding in the marriage. So this is a wonderful book, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts, which was sent by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 1896 to the Western world as a first publication going abroad, and the year where Srila Prabhupada was born. He happened to write 9 teachings from Lord Chaitanya's life, and finally he summarizes. And in the summary, in the very early paragraph, he writes this about a devotee. He must be himself humble, bearing difficulties of life with heroism, must not brag of any goodness or grandeur he has, and must treat everyone with the respect due to him. Marriage with a view to peaceful and virtuous life, and with a view to procreate servants of the Lord, is a good institution of our Vaishnava. Spiritual cultivation is the main object of life. So this Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur happens to write in this book. Many a time we hear the glories of this particular book, especially in our preaching days, but what is the content? Mostly we have not read through. So if you go through the 7th Goswami, the book 7th Goswami, in which the biography of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is present, this particular text is written. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually mentioned that it's a great institution for a Vaishnava. So all those who are here, it's a great institution. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur exemplified from his life. He had 10 children who were great exalted devotees. It was not that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was the only devotee. The entire family was a great devotee. It's just that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we know very well because he has been in the parampara and he is none other than the ray of Vishnu. But nevertheless, the entire family was wonderful devotees. Bhagavati Devi, who was earlier known as Lalita, Srimati Lalita Devi. So Bhagavati Devi was herself taking the role of a bhajan when Bhaktivinoda Thakur happened to take the bhajan role. So we can understand that we have to onboard with a positivity. And in the marriage institution, we should not preach to the other party by words, but by example. We should practice one's own sadhana without threatening the other party. And the preaching by words, you may say how the person will learn. The preaching by words has to happen by any other devotee except you. Primarily by senior prabhus, for prabhus. If the lady wants to cultivate his husband, her husband, and for the prabhus, senior Mataji to cultivate one's wife. And then it's a great opportunity to celebrate material and spiritual events together, wherein we celebrate various events like birthday, marriage, family get-togethers, and the spiritual aspects like having aarti, festivals, counselor meetings. So we are going to celebrate both the aspects with our companion, and one cannot go without the other. So understand that we have got the most wonderful gift from Krishna, which is the companion from one's life. And the landmark event is the first marriage anniversary, wherein you will understand that how many calls come to you and to your wife. It will be the whole day you have to take off, because even outsider understand first year success means a great success. So understand that till this point of time, we have to cultivate in a very nice, admiring way, in which we share values each other, and we share both the aspects of our life together. And based on this foundation of the first year of how we happen to give space to the other party, it will depend whether the next phase will be 5 years or 50 years. So it all depends on how we approach and give the space to the other person. So I will now take briefly, because we have further discussions. The next phase. All of us, those who have come in Krishna consciousness, if we take an approximate of how many hours it takes to come to 16 hours, it might come to somewhere around 200 to 400 hours. Just try to calculate sometimes. If you take 1 year, it's 52 weeks, just making some maths. 2 hours per week, it comes to 100, and with some gaps, 150. And in between we have some mantra meditation and so on. So 200 hours if you become devotee, or not become devotee, because 16 rounder in 1 year, and 400 hours in 2 years. So roughly this is the time. But when it comes to the other person, and if they are not from ISKCON background, we feel they should change immediately. But the process of this change is a very slow process. And moreover, with the various events which happen after marriage, you will find 1 year you are fully packed with primarily dealing with various of the so-called material events, so-called pious events, and we have to give the space to the person. And then the arrivals of kid happen, which is another mega event. At least prior to that, the other person should have a basic level of Krishna consciousness. So this is a line from Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada happens to comment about his wife. My wife, this comes in Leela, by the way. My wife was a devotee of Krishna, but she had some other idea. Her idea was just to worship the deity at home and live peacefully. My idea was preaching. So many times we only hear the context of the tea and biscuits, but this is a statement of Prabhupada about his wife. And then, his father happened to say, it's Krishna's grace that your present wife is not to your liking. This is also applicable for husband, you just relate to the other person. To your liking, take it as a great fortune. If you do not become too attached to your wife and family, that will help you in your future advancement in spiritual life. And Srila Prabhupada happened to accept it. And this is a text from Leela. Your future advancement in spiritual life. Abhay liked the idea. He reconciled himself to the wife he had been given. So once we get a particular wife, we have to accept the person as is. We are not married to bestow the mercy on the other person. we are marrying to get a companion for our whole life. And even if the person doesn't change, there is no option we should think or ponder in our mind that we should just break up, because that would be a great service to Prabhupada and entire movement. And when we are doing such a way, then we can, based on that harmonious relations, we can render great service to the community of devotees, and we will have kids plus plus. We may have many kids, may have 1, 2 and plus plus. So with that, I would like to conclude over here that this is a very wonderful poem by Bhaktivinoda Thakur on Mansa Deho Geho Jogi Chumora Arati Ruduavade Nanda Kishore. So in this, Srila Prabhupada happens to give a purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita that a devotee tries to surrender everything of his house, be it his wife, be it his home, be it his wealth, be it his mind, be it his body, in the service of Krishna. And if his home and family is creating an obstruction in his service, then he is also feeling that he should get detached from that family life soon. But we can see that from the Prabhupada's life, where there was a compatibility issue in terms of the desires one want to have, still Prabhupada practiced the entire Grihastha life properly and not felt that now I should move on. So whatever be the situation which is awarded to us, we should take it as an opportunity to serve and take shelter of Krishna. Hare Krishna. So now we would like to have So we'd like to invite His Grace Prahladnath Prabhu to this forum, who has a very nice understanding on astrology and very beautiful. So I'd like the management committee to kindly come forward.
Hare Krishna. So we hope that all of you would have liked the session by His Grace Advait Kripa Prabhu. Thank you very much. So next we are having a session of astrology by His Grace Prahladnath Prabhu. A brief introduction of Prahladnath Prabhu. So Prahladnath Prabhu is in ISKCON since 1999, and he came through IYF preaching, and he got initiated in 2004. From last 6 years, Prabhuji is in Samskar department, and he is doing Nitya Home Seva in temple regularly since last 6 years. Also, he is taking guidance from His Grace Krishna Kishore Prabhu, and initially he was like this. I'm telling about his devotional background. So he was in Balaji Backup Seva in NVCC when the temple started in, and also like his interest in astrology developed somewhere around 2 years back, and since then he is trying to serve the devotees through his knowledge of astrology also, and trying to help the people around. By profession, he is a mechanical engineer with an industrial experience of 24 years, and currently he is running a manufacturing business of casting, plastic molding, gas appliance, which he is manufacturing, which his company is manufacturing from last 20 years. So we are very grateful to have the association of His Grace Prahladnath Prabhu, and we would like to welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting 3 times.
Hare Krishna. Actually, some parts of the presentation may be very sort of technical. So I hope you are okay with that. So I would like to know firstly that how many of you are in ISKCON sort of less than 2 years? Fine. Prabhuji spoke very fully upon the matchmaking part. So, I hope all of you are aspiring to enter the Grihastha Ashrama, right? So as you know, there are 4 ashramas specified in the Vedic system, which are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanprastha and Sannyas. So the specific term ashrama is connected to all the parts. So what exactly is it? Yeah, next one. So in the presentation we are going to cover a few points like how important it is to have a harmony in the Grihastha Ashrama, right? And then we'll see some basic concepts on what exactly is astrology all about. The concept of the matchmaking, which is the present topic, and we will have some Q&A. So as I told you, the role of ashrama is for spiritual enlightenment, right? Only when the spirituality is the goal of the ashrama, we can say it is a Grihastha Ashrama. If spirituality is not the goal, then we are all Grihvedis, as you understand. So for spirituality, there has to be peace and tranquility around. When we also do some Nitya Homa in the temple or any puja part we do, firstly we start with the Shanti Panchaka. In Shanti Panchaka, after every mantra we chant Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Well, only when there is peace and tranquility around, we will be able to focus ourselves on what we are going to do. So similarly in the ashram also, there has to be peace and tranquility first. If there is disharmony, then the main goal of practicing Krishna consciousness gets aside. For example, if somebody has a severe sort of toothache in the tooth and he's supposed to chant, he's not able to focus entirely. His all attention is drawn towards the toothache, how to take care of that. So similarly in the ashrama, if there is no peace around, okay, so it becomes very difficult. Now, we will touch a bit of astrology here. The planets, the grahas around, the entire nakshatra system, the zodiac around us, is designed by the Lord Himself. And as you all understand, that all the jivas are controlled by the material energy of the Lord, right? And this material energy acts to its agents. They are the planets, the nakshatras, and the zodiac around us. Okay, so these planets, as you know, Pragati Gremanani, so these planets or grahas or system around us totally control us, and they have a lot of influence on our lives. So astrology is actually all about them. So before we go ahead to understand, I would like to I call it 3 P's. So whenever an act is supposed to get fructified, so there are 3 parts to it. First is the Prakriti, the Purusha, and the Purushartha, and sort of Deva also. It is the Purushartha is actually Deva or the Prarabdha. Purusha and Purushartha are linked actually. So Prakriti means what exactly? So Prakriti is something, the environment around us. Desha, Kala, Patra, etc. comes under the Prakriti part. Purusha, we, Jiva, we are doing activities. We are supposed to do the Purushartha. And then comes Daiva, the sanction from the Lord, or which is known as the Prarabdha. So when all these three are combined, then an activity gets fructified. Okay. For example, if any one of you wants to become a billionaire, all of you want to become a billionaire. So somebody starts to act, he starts to learn the things, ways and means, like he molds the Prakriti around himself in such a way that he will learn the concepts, guidance, he will do some courses, this thing, that thing. So he is taking care of the Prakriti. Purushartha also is doing, he is trying to learn how I can become a billionaire. But if there is no sanction from the top, if there is no prarabdha only to become a billionaire, then he will not become. So that is the difference to understand. So when all three effects are combined, then only a particular act fructifies. Why I am saying this? Because this will be connected later on. Why we do matchmaking? Why it is important to seek the guidance from astrology. Okay. And the second part here to understand before going to astrology is the karma is divided into three parts. One is sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, and kriyamana karma. What is sanchita karma exactly? See, the jiva, life after life after life, he performs so many activities. So lot of karma is being done. So there is lot of reactions getting accumulated. So sanchita karma is the sum volume of all the reactions which you are doing for the past so many lives. It's the storehouse of that. Prarabdha means what? When the jiva is born in this world, he comes with a specific prarabdha. In this lifetime is jivan. Only few things will get fructified. That is the prarabdha for this life. And the kriyamana part is what? Kriyamana is the free will of the jiva. The prarabdha will give a certain environment or a situation, but how you act in that situation is defined by your free will. Okay? So it like Ram Maharaj says a very specific statement. Once greatness is assumed by how he behaves in provoking situations. So that is a Kriyamana karma, that is in your hand. So sanchita karma we cannot change. Prarabdha is also fixed. What is in our hand is the kriyamana part. So that is why we are supposed to live a life of dharma. That is the kriyamana part. And the results of that are seen very fast in this life only. Okay? So I will not go into the exact history. So before we see why we should consult astrology or Jyotish Shastra. How many of you have some idea about astrology? Okay. How many of you don't have any idea about astrology? So before we go, why we should use astrology in our lives? We should have some faith actually. Because if there is no faith, it doesn't work. So faith has to be developed. So you need to understand that the sort of Vedas, no? There are some traditional schools, like even if you go to Varanasi today to learn the Vedas and all the scriptures, then you have to first learn the Vedangas. There are 6 Vedangas, as you can see in the screen. And one of the Vedangas is Jyotish Shastra. Okay. So if somebody has to become a scholar in the Vedas and the Vedic scriptures, he has to study the Vedangas. And one part of the Vedanta is Jyotish Shastra. It's part of the Vedic scriptures. Jyotish Shastra is also considered as the eyes of the Vedanta. Eyes means you can see things in the right perspective, in clarity, when you have the Jyotisha knowledge. So that is the importance of Jyotish Shastra. So when we understand how important it is, so we should try to apply that also in our lives. I will not go into the history because we have so much time. So it is the authenticity of astrology, how historic, how it started and all, who were there to take the roles of that. So astrology, actually, this Shastra comes from Brahmaji itself actually. Brahmaji gave this knowledge to Parashar Muni, who is the father of Vedas, the compiler of the Vedas. And Parashar Muni, in his conversation with Maitri Muni, he spoke this scripture. This is known as the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra actually. So the entire Jyotish Shastra is based on Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. So astrology in general can be divided into three terms: Siddhanta, Samhita and Hora Shastra. Siddhanta or Acharya Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was a scholar in this part. That is why he got this title Siddhanta. He did a lot of research into that astrology. Siddhanta covers various Siddhantas like Surya Siddhanta and all, which is totally astronomy, calculations, geometry, trigonometry. Then the second part is Samhitas. Samhitas are generally, it is like you predict some mundane astrology. When will one event happen? Like a war is going to happen, some famine is going to come, drought-like situation is going to come. That is the Samhita part. And Hora Shastra means when you start the horoscope of a Jiva and you study about his life, that comes under the Hora Shastra. So what astrology we know about is known as the Hora Shastra. Then I will go slightly sort of technical. Why I am sort of giving you, because when you are going ahead in your life to do horoscope matching and all, okay, so you need to understand few things. So when you consult an astrologer, because there are many fake astrologers around in the marketplace, so you should know whatever he is going to speak is in line or not, or he is taking some shortcut. So that should not lead to some issues with your vision. So that is why I am giving you some technical perspective. I will cover very fast, but you should try to understand. So the Jyotish Shastra is based on the geocentric Siddhanta. That is, the Earth is the center of the Brahmanda and everything around us is revolving. Okay? So all the planets, the nakshatras around us are moving, and the Earth's path, which way it moves, is known as the Earth's elliptic. Okay? So if you take that plane, then 8 degrees above, 8 degrees below forms a band which is known as the zodiac. The zodiac contains all the stars and nakshatras actually. Okay? So these nakshatras, in togetherly, they also form rashis. So there are three components to understand. One is the nakshatra part. One is the rashis, which is the combination of the nakshatra. So there are 12 rashis. There are 27 nakshatras, and there are the planets. So the rashis have different kind of natures. So how it is sort of relevant to us? Like the rashis can be fiery, earthy, airy, watery. As you know, the rashis you might have studied in school or somewhere: Aries, Taurus, Libra, then Scorpio, something like that. So each rashi has some specific characteristic. It is earthy, fiery, airy, watery. Then the rashis can be male or female type. Then the rashis are movable, fixed, or dual sign. And each rashi has an ownership of the planet. So why it is important, I will just sort of say in the next slide. And there are 7 planets actually, and there are 2 Chaya grahas, which are known as Rahu and Ketu. So in together, all these things which you are seeing, they control our lives. How we are going to behave in our life, what is going to happen in our life, is all done by all these bodies submitted to the Lord. So when a Jivatma is born, if you take a picture of the zodiac from the top, a picture of the zodiac, then you will understand there are different rashis, planets, and that forms the horoscope of a Jiva. When you are born, at that time, whichever rashi is rising at the horizon, that defines your lagna. That is who you are. You have come from that part of the zodiac. So the characteristics of that rashi are inbuilt inside you. How you behave, your physical attributes, your personality. And at that time, moon is in whichever sort of nakshatra that defines your mental status. How you are going to perceive things, how you are going to. So, a combination of Lagna and moon, they define your personality as such. Okay. So, when two individuals are there, okay, they come with different energies. So, every individual is governed by different combinations of the planets, the rashis, the nakshatras. So we have different energies. Every one of us has different energies. So as you know, if you bring two magnets together, if you have North Pole and North Pole, तो क्या होगा? Repulsion होगा. Because those energies are not compatible with each other. If you bring North South, attraction will be. So even every individual is having some certain amount of energy as per the planetary combinations. So when two individuals come together, they may either attract each other or repel each other. There may be harmony or disharmony. Okay? Because we are all full of energies. So harmony and disharmony. So is it important to use astrology in selecting our partners or not? Because if your spouse is having a different energy than yours, if things are not compatible, what is going to happen? Repulsion, ripple effect, constant disagreement. Two individuals, if you see them individually, can be very great personalities. Very great personalities. But when they come together, they can't go ahead. See, you might have seen in your school life also, your college life, even in your workplace. In your class, how many students? 40, 50 students are there? How many friends are there actually? 2, 3, 4 maximum? Why you don't have friendship with all of them? Any answers? No compatibility of energies. Isn't it? You may see somebody is such a difficult person, I cannot be with him. But that fellow has his own group, na? He is compatible to others, not with me, because I am not in harmony with his thoughts, ways, speech. So when we go for the grahastha ashrama, if the energies don't match, will there be peace? No. If there is no peace, will the aim of the ashrama be successful? No. So if there is constant disharmony, will you be able to practice your devotional life peacefully? No. So it is our responsibility. See, this Shastra is given by the Lord Himself, and the Lord has designed, He has given the manuscripts how to live in this world. The Vedas are there, the Shastra, Upanishads, everything is there. This Shastra is also there. If we don't use it, somebody may say, I don't know what is astrology. मुझे क्या पता? In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, sorry, yeah, there is a karma cycle defined. What is the root cause of all the sinful activities in life? Anyone? No. Ignorance, ajnana. If somebody says, I don't know what is astrology, मैंने तो नहीं सुना था, let them say that is your problem. Right? Ajnana is the root cause of sinful activities. And then the cycle goes, prarabdha karma, bijam, kutam, phalormukha. Phalormukha again leads to ajnana. Cycle goes on and goes on. So it's our duty to understand the scriptures and shastras. So astrology has to be used not only in the matchmaking, whenever we take some major decisions in life. So I will just go ahead first, sorry. So this is the horoscope actually. If you see the horoscope, the zodiac is divided into 12 rashis. Each rashi is got a 30-degree span. Okay? 30-degree span. So 30-degree span, actually you can see the number 1, 2, 3. They are known as the bhavas in your chart. The bhavas, there are 12 important bhavas in the chart of your individual. So I will just go through fast. The first Baba is you as an individual. Your health, your personality is defined by the first Baba. So whichever Rashi comes, you are that. If there is some planet present or there is some planet aspecting, that defines or alters your personality. So first Baba is you. The second Baba, number 2, is known as the family, your kutumba sthan, your family, your speech, your food habits, what you like, what you eat, your assets, money, dhana is seen from that Baba. The third Baba is known as the Parakram Baba. आप में कितना पराक्रम है वो आप देखते हैं थर्ड बाबा से. थर्ड बाबा इज ऑल्सो टू सीन योर आपके छोटे भाई बहन जो होते हैं उनके देख जाते हैं. थर्ड बाबा इज ऑल्सो हाउस ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. सी व्हाई these are important when you see horoscope of the spouse or would be spouse, you should know ना उसका कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स बहुत खराब है तो कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है वो. What a person will speak that will not be properly communicated to others, and that is a big problem. Chaturth Baba is known as the Sukha Baba, your home atmosphere, your properties, assets, vehicles. That is in the fourth Baba. Your mother is in that. Pancham Baba, your Putra Sthana, your progeny. आपके बच्चे कितने होंगे, कैसे होंगे कि नहीं होंगे. So in a chart you have to see this na. If somebody's chart is afflicted fifth sthana, that means that fellow cannot beget a child. So will you take that spouse? No. Or yes. So fifth Baba is also your buddhi sthan. You can see how intelligent a being is from the fifth Baba. The sixth Baba is known as the Shada Ripu Sthana. Kram, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. And the Rog, Rin and Ripu. That is sixth Baba. Seventh Baba is the important Baba, but today's topic, that is your spouse, your partners. Even if it's not a business, you have partners, so that Baba takes care of that. Your spouse is still from the seventh house. So seventh house is very important when you see astrological chart in match. Eighth Baba is your longevity. So you have to see कि जिसके साथ शादी होने वाला है कहीं उसकी आयुष तो कम नहीं है. It has to be seen. Then ninth Baba is your dharma sthan. How religious or spiritually inclined individual is. You can see from that Baba. Your father's Baba, your guru, your teachers, your father is seen from the ninth Baba. 10th Baba is your karma sthan, your profession. 11th is the gains from karma, your association to any sanstha like is called. That is seen from the 11th Baba. 12th Baba is the moksha sthan, spirituality practice, or it can be also asylum, or compatibility between the partners. Physical compatibility between the partners is also seen from the 12th Baba. If somebody's 12th Baba is afflicted, it means physical compatibility का issue है. So now you understand when you see a horoscope of individual, what you can see from his chart, his or her chart. So the houses are also, see, astrology is also defines the four purusharthas, which are the dharma, artha, kama and moksha. So house number 159 are known as dharma trikona, 268 are known as artha trikona, 3711 kama trikona and moksha trikona. So this helps us to analyze the individual, how he is. दशा सिस्टम क्या होता है? जब आपका जन्म होता है तो मून इज प्लेस इन विचवर नक्षत्र, दैट नक्षत्र का लॉर्ड जो है, फ्रॉम दैट लॉर्ड योर दशा स्टार्ट्स. Dashas are the main periods of life. These planets are going to govern your life. In like each planet, like you say, Ketu governs for 7 years, Venus for 20, and so on and so forth. So these are the Mahadashas of your life. Whichever planet is present in which bhava of your chart, in those periods, those activities will be more prominent in your life. Okay? And then dasha is split into more like antar dasha, means for 2 years or so, then pratyantar dasha for a few months, then prana dasha for a few weeks, then sukshma dasha for a few days. That is why the grahas are controlling your life in days, weeks, months, and years. Now we'll just come to the part of matchmaking. So I just gave you a prelude to what is matchmaking, what are the typical sort of terminologies in the matchmaking. Now, typically outside when you go, many Jyotish or even in online, many people go, you have some online places, you put your birth time, date and place of boy and the girl and you click a button, it will show you the score. That is the way generally everything is done. Matchmaking is done outside. The problem is that is done only considering the nakshatra, which is the placement of the moon. Okay? So moon is one of the 9 planets in your chart. So that compatibility you are seeing only considering one planet, moon. So there are cases which I have seen, even somebody who has a match of 36 out of 36, that marriage has led to a divorce. Now you can see, ऐसे कैसे होता है? Because you are taking only one consideration, na? There are 9 planetary systems, there are 9 planets actually, and you are taking only moon part, बाकी सब कुछ छोड़ दिया. So horoscope matching is beyond the guna matching system. What generally outside people do is the guna matching system. It should be done as a screening part, first screening part. कि यहाँ पर compatibility है कि नहीं, okay. So that is the first thing. There are Ashtakuta mat and there is for Dashakuta match. So different people use the different things to cover it up. Then the birth nakshatra. So you are born in a specific nakshatra. So if you arrange this into columns of 999, so you may be born in any one of the nakshatra. So the rows 3, 5 and 7 are not compatible to your own nakshatra. So if the spouse is from 3, 5 or 7 from your birth nakshatra, then that is not a good compatibility. Then one has to match, as I told you in the horoscope, the lagna is there. So when the lagna is there, there is a lagna lord, there are some planets there. So one should see the lagna of one chart and the lagna of other chart. That should not, when you map the charts, they should not be in a position of 2, 12. Like if the lagna is in the house number 1, second is in 2. That comes in the 2, 12 combination. That is a very bad combination. Okay. Similarly, there is a bad combination of 6, 8. So both the lagna should not be in a 2, 12 or 6, 8 combination. From the lagna kundali and the chandra kundali. The Saptam Baba, which I told, is the house of spouse, the marriage. Its Lord, again, should not be in the two horoscopes at 2, 12 or 6, 8 to each other. See, if there is, then that is a negative mark. That is the energy is getting disharmonized. The more, see, there are many sort of criteria. Okay, then you may not find a person in which you are going to match all these things. If you are going to do, it may take 100 years for you to find a match, a perfect match. So you are never going to find a perfect match. So some things will meet, some things will not meet. But we have to see, at least the score should be above average. At least things should go ahead in life, right? Okay. So there is another. There are many sort of in astrology lagnas. There is male lagna, Chandra Kundali is there, Kati lagna, Hora lagna, Harod lagna. Then one is Upapada lagna. Upapada lagna is the lagna which shows you the marriage as an institution. So your entire married life can be ascertained by understanding this So the astrologer should know this point. That he has to see a Upapada also, whether they are again at not 2, 12 or 6, 8 to each other. In Upapada Lagna, if you take the second house, if there are two malefic planets, for example, Mangala and Shani are in the house number 2 in the Upapada Lagna, that means the spouse will die early. So these things have to be seen. Normally people don't go into the details, but we should see how far we have. So there are 2 charts, wonderful devotees actually, individually as I said. Individually we all can be good, prosperous, lot of resources, but no compatibility. The Guna matching score of this was 33 out of 36. Very good match. But in the last many years they have gone for the divorce 8 to 10 times. Okay. So this is as a sort of precaution, that if someone is a devotee, that does not guarantee that the marriage life will be successful. Difficult to understand, right? Why? If you have a toothache, I tell you just focus on your devotional life. Will the toothache go away or not? No, it will not go. Because it has nothing to do with spiritual life. Bauddhic Sharira is different, spirituality is different. So, the planetary systems and all these things which I explained, they are the material energy of the Lord. They act on an individual, whether or not he is a devotee or not devotee. Okay? So these things are going to act on each and every one of us. We are devotees or not devotees. So a caution has to be taken by everyone. In the house there is also Badaka system. I will not go into details. It is very technical. The Badaka, like for some charts, it is the 11th house. For few charts, it is the 9th house, and for few charts, it is the 7th house. So if the spouses Badaka or the planet is sitting on the Badaka goes to your Lagna, then after the marriage, you may be a king, you will become a pauper. Because the Badaka is activated. So you can see that after sometimes you have seen in many cases after the marriage, things don't go right. Person is not able to succeed even sort of materially. And there are so many issues in profession, all those things. Why? Because this has got activated. So that aspect should be seen. Then the placement of many planets like Rahu and Ketu should be seen. The Mangala Dosha, you might have heard about it. It's a very common thing to understand. So when Mars occupies few places in the chart, like house number 2, 4, 7, 8 or 12, then that person becomes a Mangalik. Mangal is very prominent. But you will say, इतना सारा positions में या तो 50% तो लोगों का होगा ही ना? Yes, होगा. So, Jyotisha has to see the match that if somebody is Mangalik, then other person, Mangal should be able to balance that energy. Otherwise, you will see some effects of Mangal after the marriage. Then the sort of dashas, as I told you, if someone is having through the 6th dasha, 6th mane kya karna? Roga ritu. All legal issues are from the 6th house of the chart. If both the partners are running through the 6th dasha, kya hone wala? Disputes, litigation. There are other things also like Astaka Varga score is there, Nakshatra Veda should be there. As I told you, the longevity has to be seen. So there are 9 planets in both the charts. So 18 planets are there. At least half of them should be in good placement. So that, okay. the boat will move on. Okay. So you have seen there are so many criteria, and it is not, as I told you, it is not practical that all the criteria are going to be fulfilled when you go for a spouse meet. So one has to see the maximum you get, that is good for you. But some specific combinations are very bad. So in that case, the astrologer has to tell you that please don't go ahead. So normally, as I told you, the common practice, गुना मैचिंग करो, हाँ डिवोटी है देख लो, नॉन डिवोटी अच्छी है, शादी कर लो. So as a part of your free will, Kriyamanan part, which I explained to you initially, Prakriti, Purusha and Daiva, some things which we cannot change, some things are in our hand. As like the free will, using the free will, your Purushartha to cross-check all the details before you go ahead in the marriage. See, marriage is a very sacred thing, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur has specified in Jaiva Dharma. It's not punya karmas which you have to do. Marrying and having kids, spouses, is the punya karma. Because when you get good dharmic kids, they help in the propagation of the dharma. So you are contributing to the society as such. So it is very important when you select a partner, the partner should be compatible to you. Spirituality aspects you have to see, as we all see. But this aspect also has to be taken care of. If you don't, then disclaimer is there. Okay. So what is the solace in marriage? In doshas, it is a part of your Kriyamanan karma. If two people are having some issue, because every chart will have some issues, right? So what you can follow? Living a dharmic life has to negate some effects of the life. In the 6th canto, Narasimha Bhagavan says to Prahladnath Maharaj, Bhogena punyam, kushalena papam. Kushalena papam, the papa karma, the reactions of the papa karma, which are going to kushalena, try to minimize them. How? By exercising your free will, your purushartha, your kriyamanan karma, following dharma. Understanding the art of living, accept, like Prabhuji told you, that if there are some issues, then you have to accept it as it is. The spouse is like that. Not having undue expectations from the spouse. मेरे को तो ऐसी ही चाहिए थी, नहीं मिली, पूरा जिंदगी भर ये रोना. No, you have to accept that it is a part of your prarabdha. No, something is a part of your prarabdha, you cannot change that. What you can change, you should follow that. So, if somebody is having some kind of specific doshas, they don't harm much if one is living a dharmic life and free from greed and intensive desires. If one is able to control them, then it gives some kind of solace. There is a concept of Rati and Priti. Rati, when one is married initially for a few years, there is a physical compatibility, attraction between the spouses. That stays for some time. What sustains a marriage is Priti part, affection, love and caring for each other. Rati will go away in few years, but Priti will sustain your relationship. So you have to focus more on the Priti part. Okay. This I have already taken care of. Hare Krishna. I just tried to make it very fast. It was very brief. This session would have gone for 8 to 10 hours actually in details, but I cannot do that. So we just covered things very fast. Maybe some of you may not have understood anything, but you have understood one thing, that yes, properly exercising your free will, giving some importance to astrology also with right perspective, so that there is peace and harmony in the Grahastha Ashrama. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. If anybody is having any doubts or clarification, then you can just ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, horoscope can be made properly if the exact time of birth is not known.
Yeah. Yes. Charting a horoscope, there are three sort of criteria. First is the place of birth required and time of birth is required. If sometimes it is in the time of birth is, even if it is by 5-10 minutes, sort of mismatches there, your horoscope can change. So a Jyotisha, when you go to an astrologer, he has to first do the birth time rectification. So if you are not sure, you are tell, I am not sure, my birth time gave me half an hour ahead or below also. So what he will do, he will ask you specific things like आपके जो लाइफ टाइम में आज तक क्या important वो चीजें हुई. So as I told you, things unfold in our life as per dasha system. कौन सा planet कब एक्टिव था, कैसा हो गया. So you can correlate that आपने बोला कि इतने साल पहले मेरा ऐसा एक्सीडेंट हो गया था, या मैंने ये अचीवमेंट किया, या ये हो गया, वो हो गया. So you can correlate the chart if it is matching. अगर नहीं हो रहा match, then he has to do some sort of time correction and see how you can come to the realistic time. And there are other sort of see, astrology is very vast. One is the Parashara system of seeing things. There are many other systems like Gemini system. There is sort of Bhrigu Nadi system, in which थोड़ा टाइम आगे पीछे भी हुआ तो you can just see the placement of the planets from each other. Okay. उससे क्या होता है कि 1 घंटा 2 घंटे से इतना नहीं पड़ता फर्क. So there are ways and means to do that.
Seeing so much complexities, what if we totally ignore this and focus only on bhakti?
As I told you, you can do that. Laws of material nature don't change for an individual. So it is up to us to accept this or not accept this. Spirituality is very different. Spiritual problems, spiritual solutions can be implemented for material solutions. So this comes under the material area, the grahas, Daksha system. ये सब भौतिक स्तर पे है. तो भौतिक energies will act on you, whether you accept them or not. They are going to act on you. See, I have seen many from devotee communities or outside also. I have seen cases. Marriage के बाद disharmony is there. Okay. So why? As I told you, two individuals individually can be very spiritually aligned, very good and reasonable people. But when it comes to the marriage alliance, okay, when an act is done at a specific time, so certain combinations and energies get activated, so they affect your life accordingly. So it has sort of nothing to do with your sort of bhakti as such.
Yeah, just to add another perspective to it. So definitely certain times devotees feel that it is too complicated. I mean, whether I really have to understand it. First of all, we don't have to understand it ourselves. Therefore, there has to be experts who has to deal with these kind of things. And even if you get the right astrologer, certain times some data can be mismatched, right? So we have to get a good expert advice from astrologers who are expert in that. Still the situation, whatever comes later, we accept it by transcending the situation. We can't say that, or even if suppose everything goes well, our purpose should not be only material goodness in our life, but eventually that situation, that mode of goodness situation should help us to take us uplift to the situation of pure goodness. So all this situation is to help us get a good platform of transcending us. Even if, suppose all situation is very good, we have very goodness situation, but it's just like different shackles of the material nature, right? We have iron shekels, we may have gold shekels. Goodness might be gold shekels. So while this aspect has to be taken care so that we get a goodness platform, the purpose is not to stay at goodness platform, the purpose is to uplift from the goodness platform. And at the same time, we should not be neglecting this. So just like Srila Rupa Goswami says very nice, Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Vardhana. Whatever is acceptable for a devotional service, accept it. Whatever is not favorable for a devotional service, reject it. So you are accepting this particular knowledge or any other knowledge in the house of Vedas like Ayurveda or any other knowledge which you have to give is primarily for the purpose so that we get a situation in which we can further transcend. The goal is not to be in a particular situation. And that's why we also try to have the visibility in the life of the two acharyas. They are having two different kind of situations actually. In one of the life of the acharya, even at the Grihastha life, it was like a Grihastha Paramahamsa. But in the another acharya case, we could see that the entire Grihastha life was a challenge to execute the mood which he was carrying. But nevertheless, in either case, we performed the duties of the Grihastha ashram, and depending on the situation, like in that particular translation or purport mentions that if someone is having such a wonderful life of Grihastha life, then there is no need to take a sannyas because you are already doing a service greater than sannyasis. But if the situation is not helping of that family life, then one may think of detachment at the right time. Still, there is no situation for her. So the knowledge which Prabhuji is trying to give you is something which should be used just like in the principle of Anukulasya Sankalpa. But after you have accepted it, still some situations might be different in every individual's life. Because who knows, once you bring out the Dasachar, it might be problem at your end, right? And we might not be knowing the other party right now. So therefore, we have to accept it as a favorable thing and not accept it as something which is dangling on our head that oh, we ये नहीं किया तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता. So I hope you are understanding the point. Thank you. Yeah, anybody has questions, they can, and you can also mention to whom mostly for anything or related to astrology, you can ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, it is said that marriage is already predestined. Then why we put so much emphasis on matchmaking? And it is also said that the time of marriage is also fixed, like the Rath of Fera is already fixed by Prabhuji.
Yeah. See, marriage is not predestined as such, you can see. How you are going to get your spouse is defined like as I told you, the 7th house of your horoscope, that defines your spouse, okay? If in your chart you have specific combinations that you will get a very good spouse. But for that you have to do some purusharthas. So as I told you, Prakriti, Purusha and Daiva, there are 3 things. If somebody is sort of destined with something, he will get when you do act for that. If you don't exercise your free will properly, these are part of the Vedic system. Astrology, maths, and all. As I told you, it's part of the Vedangas. So it's not something as science which has come after some time. So there are predefined things. They take you to a certain situation, as I told you. Okay? But how you exercise your free will is up to you. If you have got 5 charts, for example, and you want to choose one after them, if you do a proper horoscope match, that means you are in line with the system. And whatever is best, and you choose that, that means you have exercised your free will. You cannot do anything more than that. We cannot see the future. So you exercise your free will, and as per the prarabdha, if you have very good thing happening, then it's okay. If in someone's chart there is an issue that you will have some issues are there with the match or husband or wife, so those things are going to come in life. Okay? As a devotee, we know that Matra special Agama, so things are going to come up, tolerate them. As I told you in the last, solace of the issues, if there are some doshas in your kundali, the solace is that tolerate them, follow the life of dharma properly, and move it.
That means the person whom we are going to marry is not fixed.
You are defined by certain things which you are going to attach in your life. Like how much sort of bliss you will get from the married life, how much sukha, shanti you will get from it. That is fixed. Individual, it can be any, how you can specify he is the only soulmate or not. You cannot see that.
Yeah, just to add a little perspective. So this is, I mean, especially for boys I am telling, it can relate to there also. I mean, this aspect of not endeavoring to find the right match can also be an impact of the understanding of their Bhagavan, that everything will happen. So let's not endeavor at all. Even we could see from the pastime of Mahabharata, ultimately Arjun has to actually pierce that arrow, right? He couldn't say that, anyway I get married to Draupadi, so just relax. And I will be in forest and why I should go to that swamper? Let the king and the daughter should come running to me and I should be relaxed at my particular place. So this, see, we always observe their work in retrospective. That means when we see back and when any difficulties come, we feel this must be because of my destiny. But none of us see that future everything is planned, so what to do? Then, because that is what is Ajga Vritti, which is applicable to the great souls who don't even move for eating food. But I am sure everyone in the room is running or going to a particular place for prasadam. Any doubt on that? Do we say कि अभी तो प्रसादम आने वाला है, मुख में आ जाएगा? So that is the Ajga Vritti, right? Ajga Vritti, definitely none of us in this room or even outside the room is practicing in this premises. So we have to endeavor, because destiny is not known to us. It is known to probably the Supreme Lord and probably to few great souls. We have to endeavor to uncover our destiny, and when some difficult situations comes, when we look back, we see it that this is something which was preordained. So let me not get over bothered by it. Just like in case of some difficulty in marriage, we don't see, then we see that okay, probably it must be my destiny. But right now itself we don't be paralysis. ऐसा होगा तो क्या होगा? मैच खराब हो गया तो क्या होगा? मैच अच्छा हो गया तो क्या होगा? What if this will happen? We try to form the combination of 9C2, because nine sections are there. You make 9C2, and you are trying to say okay, 9 into 8 by 2. How much it will be? So many combinations. Okay, better let me remain away. So that is not how it will work. We will have to endeavor. As Roji explained, one aspect is the astrology aspect. The second aspect is which I was talking about, that you talk to the person to see the goals and aspirations which the person is holding. If that aspect is not matching, it may not work. And thinking that whatever is going to happen, say whatever my parents decide, that's also my destiny. That's also probably a good way, no doubt. But then we have to also be ready to accept what may happen in the situation after. But generally, it's not a very healthy proposal to not be proactive. We remember, Bhagavad Gita, we have that proactive leader book, right? Right in the early stages of Bhagavad Gita, we have that proactive leadership, positive thinker. Well, the name itself is to make us proactive, think positively, think be optimistic, rather than be reactive, think negative, think what bad can happen. We should think what good should happen. And the situation will then manifest in that particular manner. I hope I could relate to the question to some extent.
I would like to add some more point. In Bhagavad Gita, you see when Lord shows his Virat Rupa to Arjuna, all the Kauravas are all dead. Na? So Arjuna would have said, "I'm making joy." Fight. Do your Purushartha properly. Even if some things are destined, you have to still perform the Purushartha. As I told you, there are three things. If you don't perform the Purushartha, maybe what is in your prarabdha that may not get fructified. Okay? So there are some questions here. What exactly should we see while talking to a potential partner? See, when we go to meet someone, we have half an hour, maybe an hour.
I don't know. You have to also write whom you are asking. Are you asking?
Yeah.
But you can first answer.
I will just tell you. Yeah. So when you go out to see a person, how much you can understand? No. No. Only when you live with a certain individual day and night for days, you understand their real nature. Actually. So there is always probability, but as I told you, what we can do actually as a tool from astrology, when you get the chart of an individual, you can study that chart through astrology actually. You just let me know about the qualities of that individual. You can touch. So when you know a person is, if somebody is like Aries Lagna or a sort of Sagittarius Lagna, this is a very fiery person, aggressive, very dominant. And so when you meet, if you see somebody very humble, that means maybe they are trying to pretend. So you can just understand a few things, obviously. Yeah, I also know that in Panamera also you cannot judge a person. You just go by what you see on face value, right? But with the help of this tool, you can at least ascertain few things.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just share some of my personal perspective here. So try to see what qualities is something which you cherish the most, and try to see some things, some qualities which you just can't tolerate. There are some things, right? Try to list down in terms of qualitative aspects rather than something which can be objectified. And try to create your own set of queries which can also evoke subjective response from the other person to see that whether the other person is ready to comply with the quality which you are looking for. Just to give an example. I mean, this I am telling about a case where it did not work. So I met with one of the person whom I was about to interview, and it was from my family side. And I asked the person that she was also working. So I was like, okay, do you feel that if I get an opportunity of abroad, then you can come with me? Or then what you will do? I just make it a little more subjective. Suppose I am getting an opportunity of abroad, then what would you do? This is more practical if you are talking to working people. The other person said very nicely that I will definitely, come with you. I will look for that opportunity in that particular place. I said, yes, this is very good. We will go together. And I said, what if you get an opportunity of abroad and I don't get? What would you do then? He said, I still would go ahead with that opportunity, and you can then probably try to see. So I got a clear indication it will not work because every day I need prashadam, right? So certain things you have to see in your own personal way to keep the questions very polite to see whether there is a compatibility in terms of thoughts which you are having, in terms of day to day how do you want to live. Do you feel that we should have arti in our home? Something which is more polite, but it is also gives you and keep it little open-ended so that you get a response and understand that the response is the response from the person in their best case. And also from your side also in the best case, right? Because you are also putting your best effort to show who you are. So, but at the same time, the best response at least show what is aspirations. It will give you an indication that probably the situation may work or may not work. And of course, it will be very subjective. It will also be, this is more of a question at one-to-one, but at a high level, I am just trying to. I hope I could relate to this. I don't know. Now I'm confused whether it's question for him or me.
Mercy. See, mercy in terms of what exactly? In spirituality, mercy is very important. If you want to go ahead or progress in spiritual life, as you say, Pramande Pramita Kona, Agivana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasada Bhakti Dharmish. Only by the mercy of the spiritual master or devotees around, we can really progress in spiritual life. So, in spiritual life, it is utmost important. Mercy, how it affects your material life. Yes, there are some potencies in people, your parents, your guru, etc. They have the capacity to bless you actually. So it can play a role in material life also. If the guru, parents, that is why see, it was a samskar in the household. You go to your parents, elders, touch their feet and take blessings. So energies do flow actually. So yes, it has effect in our life. But one cannot expect to change things very drastically. If, as I told you, if the prarabdha is very strong, it is going to unfold. What is in our hand is how to react in that situation. How to go ahead in that situation.
Yeah, and I'll just add to it. So as a Vaishnava, we don't want to use the divine fortune which we have got, the divine association of exalted souls, and the divine blessings of the various devotees for setting right our material things. As a Vaishnava, that thinking would not be. However, as practicing devotee, we may try to deal with the situation based on the different guidance and tools available in the house of Vedas, and probably outside the house of Vedas, like certain time for medicines we have to go to allopathic doctor and or homeopathic doctor. So we may try to treat this particular situation based on whatever tools are available. But the major reason for our invoking the tool of mercy should be to transcend the situation. The situation, because no matter how much we set right, at some point we will be faced with situation where we have to transcend it. And that's where the actual mercy of the Vaishnavas flow. Wherein, irrespective of our situations, our consciousness remains at a divine state. And then, that doesn't mean that you don't have to take means to take care of ourselves. Like few years back, we had a COVID onslaught, right? And there were people outside getting infected by COVID, people within the community infected by COVID. But now, does that mean that people will say that, okay, because it has impacted, let me just invoke the mercy because I don't know whether I'll survive or not. The right good understanding would be that we evoke the mercy aspect for elevating our consciousness, and we make the right use of the particular instruments available, the particular treatment available in the world, and get rid from that particular ailment. That's all about it.
Are there some pujas of some demigods like to do some shanti, So do we do that one? Yeah, in astrology there are many sort of remedies. Okay, if somebody has some issues in the chart, there are many sort of remedies, and it is up to the individual to decide whether he wants to go ahead or not. As I told you, it's a part of your own free will to exercise the choice. In our life, sometimes we have issues. Some people have some mental issues, so they do go to psychologist. You have some health issues, you go to a doctor. You have other issues, you go to the expert in that field. Here we don't mind, but if somebody is having some issues in relation to like this karma effect, it is his choice to go there or not. If for some time by doing a specific remedy, one gets a solace or peace, that will help him in sort of long run, if extending that issue for a long period of time. Because our aim is to practice spirituality in peace of mind. If something is sort of troubling us and sort of disturbing us, and that is not helping in our spiritual life, then it doesn't make any sense now. But if by doing a specific part, only considering that as a remedial part, one can do if he feels so. If somebody feels that no, I don't want to follow any sort of reward or sort of little thing, that is his own choice to choose.
Hare Krishna. My question is, one of my cousin has had Mughal in her chart. So what my aunt used to do, she has one app where she sees guns, and if they matches, they go to Jyotish and carries for the production. As they save their time and money also, as she has spent 50,000 to see the matches only. If anyone is going through such circumstances that he has to see more than 10 to 15 devotees for making matches. So if, as we also have seen that app does not work as well because it not covers whole perspective. So what one can do?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, app will only give you, as I told you, only the guna match part. App will not do the entire scrutiny of your horoscope. So for that, you have to go and approach an astrologer. And yeah, it is a reality that nowadays the good astrologers, there are a few astrologers, but they do charge also. Yes. And one has to spend some amount of energy on that part. So, yeah, it is up to the individual to see whether he wants to spend or not. Because if you think that I can save some 20k, 30k in life, but if because of that you get a bad match from something, then consequences there is. So one can find out a good, a reasonable astrologer from their resources outside, your friends, acquaintances, relatives. And people do recommend that he's a good person, he has given some good things. So it is economical, then okay, we should not mind spending a little amount on that. We should not mind.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have one question related for you.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, few years back I read it Mahabharata, Purna Pragya Prabhu. I don't remember exact context, but it is a conversation between Krishna and Draupadi. And there Krishna is telling about some of the inauspicious signs on the face of Arjuna. And then Draupadi tells that Krishna should not tell like that, and this whole conversation goes. So I wanted to ask that, is there any other signs that are related to face reading or the proportion of eyes, nose, and other thing? And have you any knowledge regarding that, please, sir?
Yeah, there are some ways. As I told you, all the lagnas and planets have some different characteristics. So by the chart, you can define how an individual will sort of look like, how will be his face, the sort of texture of his skin, hair, eyes, nose, everything being specified actually. It is a detailed science. But as an individual, because we are not so expert in that science, so when we go out to see someone, one thing is that, see, everybody emits some kind of energy or vibes, okay? So when you go and sit with the individual, you can feel some kind of, you feel you are not so comfortable around with someone, you know. That means there is some kind of an energy vibe. So that is the first thing which you can see. Other things are there, but you need very expertise in judging, you know, how an individual will look. External appearance is very different. But you know, like Arjuna may have shown at that time different. He's very. Arjuna is a devotee, right? So some situations may sort of propel some kind of reactions from you, but that will not define your exact characters.
Something negative had happened at that time, and Krishna was telling that because of Arjuna's basis, these inauspicious signs has caused this, and then Draupadi was like quite fighting.
See, you can see, I know a case when a boy had gone to see a girl, and the girl was very slow, responsive, or the answers were not very straightforward. And then boy was very much sort of interested to go ahead actually. But later on we understood that the girl is seeing someone else. So she was not so keen to go ahead. So some things you get always, when you speak to someone, you can understand the proactiveness behavior of that individual or not. How much, see, when you ask specific questions and you see the reactions, you do understand a bit of that. At that time, one has to be very patiently observing, and it is always sort of recommended, not to finalize in just one meeting. One can always have 2 meetings, 3 meetings. It's always good to have it, because in first meeting, you are not in the right mindset actually. Then you think, I should have asked this, I should have. And as second meeting, third meeting, it's always good to have time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
We'll just take some questions here. So there is one question which is directly addressed to me, so I'll answer this. Is it necessary to talk about one's past relationships to one would-be spouse? Not at an early stage. And if the compatibility is found well, better avoid it, because the element of jealousy may be too high. You don't know when it will not work. First of all, try to see whether your goals and aspirations are aligning with each other. Because initially, till the time of courtship period, you are also giving your best, and the other party is also giving their best. And you don't know till the time of marriage whether the marriage is also going to happen or not, because these days minds are very fickle. So you don't have to get into the details of what was the past. Forget about relationships. It can be for anything else. We have to discuss what our future aspirations are, in which we want to lead together. And then, when the situations are quite good, even after marriage, you have to really see whether there is a need. If you don't see that it is hampering any of your execution of your daily devotional service, it is not required.
I will just add here. You see, in the astrological chart, there is a very process by which we can ascertain whether a person is having multiple relationship yoga or not. So you can see whether that person has that sort of tendency or not. If you see a chart, then you would avoid it.
Okay, one more question. I have heard that if you do your devotional service properly, Krishna will take the role and he can change our destiny astrological calculations. Can you put light on it that if a person does his devotional service very nicely, then remaining will be taken care by Krishna? So as I mentioned earlier, I think this question is somewhere related to the mercy aspect, that we don't, as a Vaishnava, expect Krishna to set it right in terms of our material calculations. We would like to evoke this great aspect of mercy for a transcendental aspect. Nevertheless, out of his own free will, Krishna may do anything for us in terms of setting some things right where we might not be doing the right thing. But that we should not expect from Krishna. We should go with what best understanding we have, and understand that the material situations which I have to face, I have to fix, and then request Krishna to help us to transcend the situation.
See, aspect has to be seen from, in our scriptures there are lot of stories and incidences where Lord comes and intervenes, right? That has to be seen as our own personal motivation in bhakti, about the greatness of Krishna. We should not expect that sort of Krishna will come and to do it for our own lives. We should expect that, no, it's not happening. I have to do often. What is a Kalas Sarpatoshas? It is a very sort of technical thing. How to find a good astrologer? See, Kalas Sarpatosh is like something in your chart. If all the planets get engulfed between Rahu and Ketu planets, okay? So that is generally termed as a Kalas Sarpatosha, but in Parashara Hora Shastra, this is not mentioned. Some astrologers who later on have calculated this. It does not come into Parashara Hora Shastra. And there are some very great personalities who have Sadosh, like Sachin Tendulkar has Sadosh. He is doing good.
Well, you have the question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. it is said that our marriage is destined, but we also have a free will. So does that happen that because we use our free will, there is divorces, or in any situation does our free will outweighs our destiny in marriage?
Yeah, see, as I told you, Desh, Kal and Patra is very important in giving any astrological answer. If I see a chart where I see this little bit of affliction in the 7th house or the 7th lord, if I see that chart in America, I will say that there is a divorce. Desh, Kal and Patra. If I see that chart 100 years, if I had seen this chart 50 years ago, I say, okay, marriage will be slightly verbal that it will go away. If I see the chart in today's context, I can say there are probabilities of divorce. So it all depends. Everything is not fixed. As I told you, your present actions also determine what is going to be the result. And the Kriyamana and Karma is a very important part of your life. If both husband and wife are spiritually mature enough, even if they have some bad doshas in your chart, they can still go ahead if their maturity aspect is there. But if they start to react very fearlessly, then it will happen. So 30%, 35% is of your reactions are dependent on how you react in the situations. That is very important. If everything is predefined or destined, then what is the concept of the free will? I hope that answers.
Hare Krishna. I'll just not answer this question. Like everything, like if we see about astrology, it starts from our time of birth and the place of birth, as you said. So, what about the children that are getting born out of cesarean? Because we can see nowadays people are checking muhurtas and everything. And
No, it is not that much. Your actual sort of birth time. Whether it is by sort of natural birth or by artificially you do the cesarean, whatever time the jiva comes out.
Scientifically considered. But is this like as it's not like it's not kind of manipulating the
No, you cannot fool the nature. We might try to do it, but Krishna's energies are very smart. Yes, some people try to select a proper muhurta when they have the scope. Like if sort of doctor will give you a date, like, okay, so tomorrow you have to do it. So what you can do, as I told you, you exercise your free will. Prarabdha is fixed, you cannot change it. You exercise your free will. You can choose, ask the astrologer what is the good muhurta in that day part. You can give that part. That's all. That's the best thing you can do. There is a question, my name is not based on my birth date and time. So, which Rashi should be considered Rashi by name or Rashi by birth date? Lagna, the time when you are born, that defines your actual birth chart. Name Rashi is not so important. Actual birth time is important. Hare Krishna. Somebody has asked a very technical question. Revati 4, Lagna, Nakshatra and Bharami Lagna. It is technical. You can ask me personally maybe later.
There is one question, interesting one. So I'll read the second question first and then I'll pass on this. Really just curious to know where you and Advait, get your astrological charts get done and how you can see the effect of these calculations in your life. So I will let the first one, another question is there which is specific to astrology. I'll just give my perspective, how I approach. So I generally would do a high level astrology check initially, and then for where things were actually in alignment, then I would go for expert astrological check. And even if things were very matched, my decision was not based on that. My decision was based on my personal interview. And but at the same time, this was the prerequisite for doing the personal interview. So that's how I approached, and it worked very well for my personal life. And so I'm pretty happy with it.
Sorry. When I was going through the process of seeing the match, at that time I was of the opinion that astrology has got no relevance. And because at that time we heard from some people, those two people never got married, their sort of score is very low, around 10, but see how they are doing good. So that is what I heard at that time. So my perspective is slightly changed. But my father was quite strict about this. So when I was trying to find a match, he did the entire scrutiny part. Although I did not do it, my father was so keen that he did the part and he screened the horoscopes. And when I met the girl, in the first instance only I spoke about my requirements. That I chant, I do this. If you have any issues, we should not go ahead. So she told, no, I'm okay with this. Then we discuss more. See, some things you cannot hide. You have to say. I thought that at the time. So and from next day only she started to chant the girl. So it was a cool idea. Okay. But my father had taken care of this perspective, that he had done the proper hospital. Just curious to know whether you. So somebody is asking, you have said there are many fake astrologers in the current world, I agree, but where and whom do we should get for astrological charts checked? See, yes, there are fake astrologers, as I told them others also, we can get it from some friends, and we can ask the community. A lot of people know very good astrology. There are some devotee astrologers also who see. In ISKCON sort of Desirity app, actually there is some devotee who see also. So we can get the details from them and we can see it. I personally am not into this as of yet because I got a very hectic schedule and it takes a lot of time to scrutinize two horoscope. It takes at least 2 hours for me to do it. I want to go into details. So as on date, I don't do it for people. But there are some devotees who are there. You can get the details from. There are some devotees for this. So there are some devotees also doing it. There are some professionals. They are slightly expensive. So it's one's choice. There are some people who charge 3,000, something like that. Also 4,000 rupees also to do the math. So what you can do if you do some initial sort of screening, and you meet an individual, you feel that okay, I can go ahead into this case. Then final conclusion, you can go to a very professional one, pay some 4,000 rupees or something like that to make a final call.
Yeah, just to add some flavor over here, I mean, so when actually, when my interview came, when I was looking for, and especially the case where I got married, so my parents would also look at the astrology, and I would also have one astrologer here, whom I would be having faith in. And my parent has actually got the respective astrologer saying it is not good. The other proposal would be good. And here whom I was approaching, he was not from devotee background, but a good professional background here. They were saying this one is good and the other one is not good. And then it was conflict, what exactly to go with. And then finally I got a connect of a mother-in-law of a devotee who was a PhD in astrology. And when she said that okay, this is the weight you can give, then finally 2 out of 3 win, and that's how we went. So certain time you find 2 different astrologers may give different opinions also. So
yes, it is very prominent actually. Very prominent. Many astrologers have their different few points. So it is always good that when you want to take a final call, have a second opinion. Actually, I would recommend that. I think we should stop here.
Yeah.
It's getting too late. If someone is having some question, they can just come personally and ask, because others may have to leave or no.
Last question.
Okay, one
Last
last question. So, how does astrology consider time factor? Because there are different time zones, IST,